Good morning to everyone and welcome to another update on the market. For today, I decided to cover British pound versus US dollar. I will speak about the gold market, crude oil and Bitcoin versus US dollar. I will start with the British pound versus US dollar first. This is the hourly time frame, and I found a Fibonacci conclusion around and basically Fibonacci agreement around this 1.2, I will say 1.2500 mark. So this is a quite important pivot for the pound dollar, and we can see that market is in the upside trend. The market is building higher lows and higher highs in the background. So I will say in the last couple of weeks we have the upside cycle on the pound dollar, and if we check here, we can see that market traded in more form of like A, B, C downside correction. We can see the oscillator went basically, there was a fresh cross here on MACD oscillator, and the stochastic also was oversold at this point and then started to rally. So from my perspective, pound is in a bullish mode, and this area seems like a very attractive area for the further upside continuation. And I will say this idea will be valid as long as the price can trade above the 1.2, I will say 446 area, which is the low that we got from April 28. So there's a plenty of potential for the upside. Of course, swing term speaking, the recent high at 1.2584, but also then 1.2620 and 1.2700 mark, plus maybe even 1.2850, like the extreme expansion on this currency pair. So pay attention to this area, potential for the upside continuation. Markets started with the consolidation here on the hourly and then started a break. Tried to go to low, but now we have a rejection. So as long as the market can trade above and stay above 1.2445, I see the further upside continuation on the British pound versus US dollar. So speaking of the gold market, let's just take a look of what we have here. If we go to some higher time frames, so we can see that market have some areas. Let me also go to the 4-hour. Maybe it will be like cleaner for you, cleaner chart. So we have this significant pivot low here, which is area around this pullback low here. We can see that on the 4-hour time frame. It's exactly where the market is oscillating around this 38.2 at 1986. You can also see that we have this area of lows. So if we put here a line, right, we can see that there is a 61.8 exactly agreement area in this most recent upside swing that started actually like somewhere around beginning of March. So this area is a quite important pivot level. And we found that on the 4-hour time frame. So for me, as long as the market can hold above the 1968, there is a potential for the upside movement on the gold. This is what is the situation on the daily time frame, and it's the situation of 4-hour time frame. So we can see that market hit the oversold area here on the 4-hour time frame, and there is a potential for that upside move. Also, on the daily time frame, the oscillator went all the way down, and there is a potential for that rally. And I will say, if we put expansion mark, so if we put expansion tool, the expansion tool will lead us all the way to 2115. Of course, the high at 2050 is also important. 2070 mark is also important, but we have 2115 and even 2200 area potentially in the play in the next period. So from my perspective, as long as the price can stay above 1968, we can see the upside continuation on the gold market. Speaking of the crude oil, what we have there is market found this key rejection. Basically, this was a resistance area, and let me see from the most recent, so to put the retracement area levels here. So we have this 38.8, 38.2, and we'll have this area. We don't have a clean agreement at this point. So I will say that market, there is still potential for the downside. So if we basically take a look of the, we're in a downside cycle since the mid-June last year. And if we go and take this, you know, market almost went to 38 point. Basically, this was a conclusion area where the market stopped. And there is still potential for a further downside price on the crude oil. So you can take this and this and this, and we can see that potential for the further downside movement is there. So to retest the basically 65.35 and then even 54.30 area, and basically extreme reading is 36.45. There is still plenty of potential for the further downside development on this market. And basically speaking of the Bitcoin versus US dollar, it seems like we're entering into this ABC kind of situation, that we are building the CLAG here. So we have this 61.8 that we didn't basically test to 27,528, but then we have 100% expansion, 25,980, and then 161.8, 23,478. So there is a potential, and if we check some major retracement as well, so if we go even for the major low, right? So we can see basically that we still have a lots of potential, you know, to go towards this area, 38.2, 61.8. So from my perspective, this is a potential second leg in development. So that there is this C leg at least in the play, you know, at least towards this 25,980, or maybe even towards this 24,000 area, 23,500. So yeah, that'll be all for this update, guys. Hope that you did enjoy. Trade safe as always, and speak to you from tomorrow morning.